I don't know how this all happened, or how I became the person that would restore the case for the toraha scroll. It's unusual for me. I'm just a young girl who goes to art school. What do I know about repairing such a holy object? I'm not a scholar, a rabbi, or a professional to be able to know the proper way of restoring it while still preserving its essence. I was intimidated at first, but I knew that this job had come to me for a reason. It was meant to be explored with the love of a believer, the curiosity of a historian, and the truth of an artist. The scroll is a survivor. The toraha scroll belonged to the Turkish temple, the synagogue of the Sephardic Jews in Vienna, Austria. The synagogue was erected in 1887. On November 9, 1938, along with 93 other synagogues, the Vienna Turkish temple was destroyed during the Kristallnacht pogrom. It was a time of horror and sadness. 6,000 Jews were arrested that night, and out of the 65,000 that were deported to concentration camps, only 2,000 survived. But there was a miracle that happened. The toraha cases from the synagogue were looted by not Jews. They thought that they could make a profit off of the scrolls. But they were stupid and they stored it in plastic bags. And it caused the parchment, which is organic material, to rot, and the words fell off, and the parchment cracked. But there was one that was stored in fiber. And this is the scroll that we have now. It was my job to restore the case for the scroll. The case is from Syria. It was brought over to America when the Syrians immigrated to Brooklyn. This case was the first case that was used in my synagogue at Torah.
I don't really have any experience with it at all. The closest I have ever been to it in the past was behind the Mechitza in Shul. Usually during this time, I would be dozing off while I listened to the powerful melody that was read by the young boys from the Torah. I was always attracted to the high-pitched songs, but it wasn't songs to me. They were more like sounds. The Hebrew words would never come together for me as sentences or any story, but I felt like the rhythm of the words that lifted me to another level of contemplation. I always wondered what it would be like if I could sing from the Torah, but to be honest, I was happy that it wasn't expected from me. The thought of singing in front of many people scared me. Most of the boys I knew read from the Torah during Minyan. It didn't look like a big deal for them. They did it like it was something that they were expected to do, or something that was like part of their daily routine, like brushing their teeth. I think you could see why being up close and personal with this Torah can feel a little awkward. I know the shul committee of all men didn't put any thought into giving me the Torah to fix, but this job is inspiring me to explore the meaning of being a Jewish woman. I always felt that by being a woman, I was being left out from many rituals or celebrations that I could reach, and that I couldn't reach my highest spiritual potential. I always wished that I could share with the dancing and singing with the Torah and Simchat Torah. I could never be a part of that because it's only the men who are dancing in a circle and the women are just clapping by themselves. And when you're in a circle together, you have a greater connection than when you're just like clapping on the side alone. Like you don't feel the same connection. So Simchat Torah is a celebration that commemorates the completion of reading the Torah. The men who celebrate this are always singing and dancing and chanting songs about the Torah or about Hashem. And when I was younger, I was allowed to go into the boys section and participate in the circle of chanting men. I always felt like I was going to get trampled. Like I was actually a little scared because I was like this little girl and like these huge men would be like on top of me, like jumping up and down. And like it was a little scary to see them like transform from like these like calm people to like these raging like lunatics. I loved it. I would always be blessed from left to right by each man. And like the old men would take from their pockets candy and give it to me. And I always felt like a sense of love. But it's no longer like this. I still walk to shul with my dad on the way of the celebration, but we are separated by the two doors when we must enter into two separate entrances or rooms. I go to the girls section and he goes to the boys section. I can see the celebration going on the other side of the cloth that separates us, but it is not like how it used to be when I was younger. I feel like I'm not involved, like I'm watching this on TV. There are barely any women on the women's side. Usually the women's section is made smaller, because women aren't obligated to come. I know that I was taught that women aren't obligated in most mitzvot because they have an obligation to take care of like womanly stuff, like take care of the home and take care of the children. We don't really have that connection to the physical type of praying and things, that we have more of a spiritual connection, so we take care of the children. I know that most of my girlfriends are happy that they aren't obligated to pray certain prayers or participate in certain rituals, but I'm different. Maybe it's because I'm an artist, so I'm more spiritual, or I have an emotional connection to these rituals. I realize they do have positive impact on me, and that I need them in my life emotionally. Why don't the other girls in my community feel the same way? Why am I the only young girl sitting behind the partition wall, wondering this as I watch the boys partying it up? But now I have been given this unique opportunity of being able to keep the toraha case in my house. I can explore it inside and out, and I can hold it and I can touch it. I even get to rip it apart and add my own touch to it. I can become a part of it. It is now my turn to experience it. As I smooth out the glue underneath the fabric, I am binding it down. I can't help but think that this is my religious or spiritual way of contributing to a celebration that I am usually left out of. But it's weird for me because I'm not dressed holy. I'm wearing a t-shirt and jeans, or I'm wearing like my tank top. We're not in a holy place, and I'm not doing something so-called holy, but I have this sort of spiritual connection to it, or I feel like I'm doing something, or something is going on. If a woman, according to Judaism, is exempt from fulfilling certain rites and rituals because they should be taking care of the home and the kids, then maybe the place for me to achieve my high spirituality is supposed to be in the home. Maybe my house is the place that I have more of a connection, a place where I'm free. I can practice Judaism in the way that I'm comfortable with without anyone watching me, like it is in the shul. It doesn't matter if I'm barely wearing any clothes or if my body is twisted in some sort of weird way. Maybe I need this liberation to be able to grow spiritually. It makes sense to me why I've been recently feeling a lack of spirituality. When I enter the prayer room in my shul, I think it's because I feel like I'm a prisoner or something close to that. I'm in clothes I'm not comfortable in. I'm in these tight shoes that my body can't relate to the prayer. So if I can't relate physically, how can I possibly have a spiritual connection? Is the goal to have my physical and spiritual equal, or at least more connected? That's why I'm happy to be holding this toraha hostage, because I can do whatever I want with it. The time had come that I would have to return the toraha to the place where it belonged. Though I had a deep connection with the case and was sad to let it go, I knew it was time for it to serve my whole community and not just me. My dad and I carried it to the synagogue. It was heavy, but I felt proud holding it. We passed joggers and pedestrians as we carried the holy case. We handed the case over to the rabbi. I watched as he carefully placed the scroll inside the case and searched for the weekly reading. The scroll now had a case and was ready to continue the traditional weekly reading of the toraha. The toraha was placed in the closet. It was more humble looking than the other metal embellished cases, but it was unique. It had a story. It was me.
I felt as if I was seeing myself in the closet, that it wasn't just a case. I said my last goodbyes to the case, knowing that this would be the last time I would ever be that close. I arrived the following Saturday morning to hear the toraha being read for the first time in over 72 years, from that scroll. Though I was still behind the mechitzah, I was content with where I was. I listened to the history of the Jewish people, and I noticed the connection between the case, the scroll, and the text. They all told a story of struggle and accomplishment that was uplifting to the community. I stared at the case through the lace. We both knew we shared moments of deep spirituality. I knew that as much as I had given to the case had given me much more. It was time for it to be shared. It was now time for it to serve not only me, but my whole community.